Hello, Lanas. Welcome to our segment today. My name is CPA Ringo Frederick, and I train business data analytics at mDarasa Digital College. Today, I want to show you some few tricks and tips, majorly for those who are having Microsoft Excel 365, the easiest way that you can save time in an exam, and of course, also to make sure that whatever that you're doing is actually correct. And it's about using artificial intelligence in Excel, using AI within Excel. How will you go about it? I want us to handle a question which was tested back in December 2022, where we were asked about forecast and also concepts of cumulative moving average. Of course, you're going to do it in two ways. Number one, we use AI, and number two, we use our manual way. We see where we're going to save a lot of time. So there's a question that is December 2022, question number 21. So in this question, this is what you're asked. You are provided with the following extracts of the statement of profit or loss for Sepetuka Limited, where the details given, these are the details given in here. Amongst the required, you're asked to calculate and interpret the following ratios, where you're given annual revenue growth rates, 3 years cumulative average, effective tax rate, and we also ask about now assume the following for Sepetuka Limited. We're given all these details. The revenue growth rates are forecast under the three scenarios, namely base case, optimistic case, and pessimistic case. The base case growth rate for the first year forecast is the 2022 cumulative average growth rate. This is expected to reduce by 2% annually until the last year of the forecast, subject to a minimum of 15%. The optimistic case is 20% above the case base case, while the pessimistic case is 10%. Yeah. So given all these details up to the income tax expenses calculated as the historical effective tax rate. So very fast, one thing that we should also be very keen with anytime you're handling the business data analytics questions, including financial modeling and data analytics, is all about presentation. Be very keen with presentation. Make sure that your work is well presented, and this is how you can always go about it. Okay. So we go to this part. Like number one, we will ask about the annual revenue growth rates for the years 2022, 2021. So in this case, of course, we can just have our solution in here, right? So you can pick it at that point where you're providing solutions on the same. So like in this context, you're having our solution for this. So in this case, we are dealing with annual revenue growth rate for years 2020, 2021, 2022. See this case, yeah? Very easy. You can, of course, work it out. And how will you go about it here? In this case, this is what you're answering, yeah? So we're having equal AI ask. I want to ask AI within my Excel to work for me. The prompt is to calculate the annual revenue growth rate, comma. In this case, of course, in terms of the header you can have anything, like I need the growth rate here, okay? So what do we want in this context? Of course, I want it to give us the aspect of cumulative or the annual revenue growth rate from where I want this to be established from the data that you're having here. So this is my source data. These are source data, which you're going to take it the way it is. Then I do enter here. See, I want you guys to see the magic. I'm having my case there. See, we're having our data at that point immediately after working it out. This is the data presented in here. See, this is my set. And there we go. We're done with that first part, right? Given the values, they are in percentage. Higher. We go to the next item at this point. What are we asked here? So in this case, what you can always tend to do, of course, just highlighting it. So we're having, of course, the period given, 2020, 2021, 2022. We're having our details. The next item, we are told to do what? 3 years cumulative average growth rate for the year 2022. Assuming you are in an exam situation and you don't know how to compute the cumulative growth rate, what is the easiest way that you can do? Look at this case. I'll just come and, of course, in a situation that I don't know what to do at all, and I am in an exam situation, it is easy. I come and ask AI, right? AI, kindly, in this case, I ask AI, show me how to compute cumulative average growth rate. Cumulative average growth rate here. Show me how to compute cumulative average growth rate. See, we want to ask AI, assuming that I don't have or I don't know anything or what is being asked, I'll just ask AI to work out for us or to show me how to go about to compute cumulative average growth rate. I don't know, so I'm asking AI and see what it will give us. Let us see if at all it will give us the lead. So in this case, of course, as much as it has worked out for us, we don't want AI to work this one for us. All we want is in a situation that I don't know how to go about that. So in this case, we do it again. AI, how do we compute? How do we compute cumulative average growth rate? How do you compute cumulative average growth rate? See, so we want AI to show us how do we go about this. See, how do we go about this without working it out for us? But because you had the formula, it will pick as if it will want to work. But the question here, I don't know how to go about it. So I'm asking Excel to help us do that, right? So it's telling me that how to go about cumulative average growth rate. The first procedure I need to do is to identify the time period for which you want to calculate the cumulative average growth rate. Then, in this case, of course, we are being told calculate the growth rate for each of using the formula. That is the growth rate, sum all, but our focus is to find the cumulative average growth rate. Use the formula. Ending value, beginning value, raised to power already is guiding us on how to go about it. See, so then I'll just follow the steps that the Excel is giving us. It's telling us that, you know what, to work out cumulative average growth rate, I should be having, number one, the aspect to do with the ending value. So it's about ending value here. We divide by our beginning value. Divide by our beginning value at this point. See? What we need to consider is to follow the instruction that, of course, Excel is giving us. So we are showing our formula here. See? In this context, of course, raised to 1 of n, minus 1. This is what he's telling us to do. See? So I didn't know how to go about it, and this is how he's guiding us, how to go about working it out. See? So having established that, in that event, I didn't know how to go about it. Therefore, what are we going to do here? We can either go with the aspect of majorly profit after tax, or aspect of revenue. Because you aren't all specific, we can either go with this for aspect of disclosure. So majorly, many a times, of course, we'll always base it on the profit after tax. So we start with the profit after tax. Now we can work it out manually. Mwalimu will not show us the shortcut. I'm going to show you in another video, right? So it is just similar concept. So you're doing this case, of course, equal sign, bracket in this context. Beginning ending value is 2022. Beginning value, that is what you're having. In this case, we need to raise this. That is 3 years cumulative average, yeah? So we're doing 1 of 3. In this context, I close all. Then we do what? We less 1. So this is for profit that you're doing. And therefore, you're getting the value in here to be 86 for profit, which you can do the same for the revenue part in this context. We said, first of all, you're using the AI in Excel to work it out. Then, of course, you're going to work it out manually and compare our results. So this other part, revenue, cumulative average growth rate for revenue, cumulative average growth rate. Yeah, cumulative average growth rate in this context for revenue, similar concept will apply, equal sign, beginning value for revenue, that is 2022, divide by, of course, ending value in this context. We raise this one to power. In this context, 1 of 3, we close it. Of course, I can close this again for all. So minus 1 to give us for revenue. See? Okay, that case, see what were we being told to replace the value there. Okay, so these are what you're getting here. See, 21%. Therefore, I can just delete this one. So once that is done, of course, we go to the other part in here where we were asked about effective tax rate for the period 2019. Let us again try use our AI in Excel. So it is simple. I'll just do equal sign AI, table, prompt, this is a question, comma in here, because we want header, this is the aspect of tax, comma, where you're talking about source, our source data. This is the whole data that you're having in here. See, so I'll take the whole data, enter here, see the magic. And in this case, of course, it's just for helping us in this context. We're having our period there, and we have the effective tax rate at this point. See, we're having our effective tax rate at this point. So how has that been done? Of course, we check 5,200. This is profit before tax. You're having it at that point. That is, the other value should be. So 5,200, and that case, or we can simply come copy paste in here to remove the whole bit, 1560. That is profit, 1560. That is income tax expense. See, so we can do, I'll just come and remove the formula. I copy paste it there. We come and remove this, bring it back. See, so these are simple strategies that will always tend to help you here. See, I know one will ask, Mwalimu, is this required, right? Of course, for practice, you can always go about it. So you're about profit before tax, which ideally, we don't really need this one majorly. right? So our focus here would be on, that is, of course, you can use this one again if at all you're having a clear knowledge, yeah? So these are income tax expense, and you have in your, of course, profit before tax, see? And therefore, these are effective tax rate here. Effective tax rate, see? So you're done with that part, see? You go to the next element. Of course, these ones could be in values. Can have this one in values. Can have the values in here. So that anytime we are determining this, of course, given our period, how have they achieved 30%? That is to take income tax expense, divide by the profit before tax, which in this case, that should be income, that is profit, yeah? Income tax expense, which were given 1560. Let's see. Income tax expense, 1560, right? Divide by aspect of profit before tax, should be profit before tax, 5,200. So these are the details that you're talking about here, profit before tax. See? So that should be 15 divided by profit before tax. The normal way of determining it, right? Assuming you're doing it manually. See? And there we go. So I can easily eliminate all these items. And there we have our details. The other part here, consider, now assume, you're given all these stories, yeah? Now assume the following for Sepetuka Limited: revenue growth rates, gross profit margin. This is expected to reduce by 2%. So you're given all these details, yeah? So in this context, of course, we are asked to prepare 5 years, yeah, forecast statement of profit or loss for Sepetuka Limited from year 2023 to year 2027. Yeah, just to enjoy the power of AI in Excel. How do you go about it? This is simple, yeah, this is simple. This is very simple, yeah. So you just come in here, you do equal sign AI ask, which we can do it, we'll do it manually and confirm our details. So prompt, I want my 5 years forecast. In this case, header, we read about, of course, our forecast, comma, source data. Where is our source data? These, like almost every data here from this point, I can literally highlight all of this set. You can literally highlight all of this set here. So what you're going to do, of course, you're saying we're doing equal sign AI ask. So you're coming to our table in this context. Prompt, what do I want to do? Prepare the forecast. That should be comma. Header, in this case, we're saying we just be having our forecast here. See? Then, of course, comma, our source data. Where is our source data? Everything here now, because that question is pegged with every element that you're having here in our question here. See? So I just, of course, come and copy everything here, including our workings, which is purely pegged on that item. So which is purely pegged on that item there. So I'll just copy all of this item, of course. Come on. Up to the question there, right? Then I just do what? Enter. See the magic here? Yeah? Within few minutes, not even milliseconds, it will give us the details. Our forecast, there is where we're having our forecast. See, this is where we're having our forecast. For, in this case, of course, we're having the profit for base case, optimistic revenue, pessimistic case revenue. These elements, of course, they are in this context, constant. And it will give us the details in here. See, as simple as that. We are going now to do it, of course, manually and compare our answers, you see. But for you to also use this is a caveat. You must be having the knowledge, yeah? You must be having the knowledge of finance and everything that you're handling to make your work much easier. Like there's a question, I think, was it the same case, yeah? The question in here, see, the same paper where these are still these are December 2022. Like this question for, let me show you guys, assuming I don't have all these elements at this point, I'll just delete them here. This just to guide us on how artificial intelligence is powerful and that you can always tend to use when working it out, yeah? When working it out. So this is how you can go about it. This is how you can go about it. I need to solve the weighted average cost of capital, where we are talking about equal sign. I need AI to help us solve this. So just a quick one, yeah? In this context, of course, I'll be having equal sign, yeah? I want to ask AI. So AI, so about table. So AI, I want you to do what? I want to solve for me this one, the weighted average, yeah? And in this case, this simply, of course, the weighted average cost of capital to be used. So weighted average cost of capital here. See, in this context, we're having the source data. What is our source data? These are source data. So I'm going to highlight our source data up to that point. The next item to do is what? Equal sign. See the magic. See the magic. See the magic in this context that, of course, is giving us. See? So nominal weighted average cost of capital, we're having real weight, general inflation risk adjustment. So nominal weighted average automatically, even if I told you didn't know, see? Even if I told you didn't know, the same case can be used in all these other elements. Yeah. So this is just to show you how Excel is powerful and integration with artificial intelligence is powerful. Yeah. We're going to do more of this. And remember, if I told you not join our classes for business data analytics, this is the best time. These are some of the tips that you're going to learn as much as for exams purposes and also for us to apply it in a practical manner. So join us today at mDarasa Digital College. I'll be the one guiding you through, of course, business data analytics. I was the instructor, CPA Ringo Frederick. Thank you so much and see you on next class. Bye-bye.